Donald Trump has repeatedly called Florida his second home, said as much last night at a rally outside Fort Myers, and it's safe to bet he will do it again when he returns to Florida for yet another rally on Saturday. But for once, Trump is not visiting Florida to spend time at his golf properties. He's there to expend some political capital on two of 2018's marquee races. There's Republican Rick Scott's attempt to unseat Democratic Senator Bill Nelson, and Ron DeSantis, a former Republican congressman who's in a very tight governor's race against Andrew Gillum, the Democratic mayor of Tallahassee. Joining me now is Andrew Gillum, who next Tuesday could become the first black governor of the state of Florida. Mayor, it's good to have you on. I've been wanting to talk to you for a while. First question, I guess, is does the president help or hurt you when he comes to town?
I'm not sure what the president does. I missed his rally last night. I was out trick-or-treating with my 3 kids. But I will tell you, the president has made this election all about him. The only benefit I have is that my opponent, Ron DeSantis, and the president seem to be twins at dividing, at stoking the politics of fear. And quite frankly, I think they underestimate the people of the state of Florida. I think that we're going to resoundingly reject that kind of politics. And the same week that 11 families are burying loved ones in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and we had bombs mailed into homes of prominent Democrats around the country, I think people have reached their limit with this kind of politics. And I think they're going to unapologetically reject it on November 6th here in Florida.
You're someone who won a primary in a big surprise. You way outperformed polls. So you figured out how to sort of turn people out that people didn't anticipate. What is your argument to someone who's watching and says, why does it really matter who is governor in my life and my family's life?
Well, I tell you, in a state like mine, boy, does it matter. We've had a governor who's failed to expand Medicaid for over 800,000 of the most medically needy people in my state. Medical marijuana passed overwhelmingly by the voters in our state, and our governor has slow-footed it. He's created a regulatory nightmare trying to prevent the will of the people from being imposed. Teachers in my state earn an average salary that is the 45th lowest of all 50 states. For anyone who concludes that it doesn't matter, they simply need to ask themselves, does the education of their children and their grandchildren matter? Does having an economy where people earn a wage that they can live on matter? Affordable housing, a good, clean environment. I know it's easy to get really worked up over national politics, and national politics is important. But for the people in my state, the office of governor has a much more everyday impact on our lives. And if you want to have something to do about that, then you need to vote. As I was always told, if you're not at the table, it means you're likely on the menu. If the people of my state want to get off the menu, it's time to get out there and vote.
I want to play you something. Your opponent, Ron DeSantis, a Republican member of Congress, voted to repeal the Affordable Care Act. And like many people, he's been a little trying to distance himself from some of the implications of that vote. I want to play you what he had to say about support for pre-existing conditions and get your response. Take a listen.
There's always been, for decades, federal guarantee of pre-existing conditions. I've always supported that. I've never voted in any way to change that. Obviously, a smaller number of people on the individual insurance market got caught up in Obamacare, and I support providing protections for those people for pre-existing conditions. So if I'm governor and anyone falls through the cracks, I'm happy to sign a bill to help out folks with pre-existing conditions.
What do you say to that?
Well, my opponent fails the truth test. He voted over a dozen times to repeal the Affordable Care Act while a member of Congress. He voted to allow insurance companies to discriminate against people based off of pre-existing conditions, to be able to charge them more and deny them coverage. There are a lot of issues upon which my opponent and I have real differences. Probably none are greater than on the issue of health care. He's opposed expanding Medicaid here in the state of Florida and pulling down $6 billion from the federal government in so doing. He has not protected folks with pre-existing conditions, and in fact has done the opposite of that. Mr. DeSantis, quite frankly, has not demonstrated that he has much of a relationship with the truth over the course of this campaign. What I have run on, in fact, my opponent, I think, just put out a health care policy a week or two ago after running in this race for over a year without any willingness to talk about what he's going to do to expand access, lower costs, and ensure coverage for more people.
Let me ask you this final question. So you've got a big state. It's a fascinating state with all kinds of different people at all sorts of different stages of life.
Yeah.
It's famously weird. I say that with love and affection. For those in your
Hey, watch it.
You know, well, so I'm going to say this. For those in your state who say, look, this Gillum guy, I kind of like him. Seems pretty good. I also like the president. The president says he's a bad guy. It's people who voted for the president or like the president but are maybe interested in Andrew Gillum. What is your message to them? Why should they vote for you if they also like President Trump?
Well, I want them to vote for themselves. I mean, over the course of this race, we've been willing to go anywhere and talk to anybody. I was in Putnam County, a county that Trump won by double digits, and we had a room that could fit 600 people. We thought we might get 200. The room was not big enough to receive everybody. We've campaigned famously in the Villages, one of the most conservative areas of our state. Pensacola yesterday, across the northern panhandle, a very conservative part of the state. And look, I talk to folks as if they're human, not as if they're Republicans or Democrat. I was born to a mother who was a school bus driver, and my daddy was a construction worker. As the fifth of 7 kids, I'm the first of my family to graduate from high school and the first to graduate from college. My lived experience better reflects that of the everyday people of this state over anybody else running. And maybe they don't agree with me on every single issue, but I'll tell you, I'm asking them to give me the only thing in life my mother ever told me to ask for, which is a chance. And I promised them with that chance, I promise to get up every single day working on their behalf to make this state a better place. I don't care who's on the other side, a president or a failed congressman. I am always going to be Team Florida. And if folks in this state give me the chance to serve, they're going to see that exactly.
All right, Andrew Gillum, as the band strikes up there in the background, thank you for making some time.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.